All right, you guys. All right, so this is our Push to Diamond call. And we have just been asking some really rockin' leaders in the Beachbody organization to come and to speak to you guys about how to move your businesses forward. So Ashly Locklin is our guest speaker today. And I met Ashly, oh gosh, what was it, like a little over a year ago at New Leader Conference. We followed each other a little bit, or maybe we had met at Melanie's Super Saturday or something. I can't remember, but we had connected somehow. But we got to really meet and talk to each other at New Leader Conference last year. And she is just amazing. Like, she is so much fun to follow. She's very real. She is a hustler and a half. And so I learn so much from Ashly all the time. But Ashly, these are all ladies who are either pushing to diamond or to 1-star and above. So they're really just kind of at that point where growth is their focus, and they have some big goals, and we have this pot of money that they're all working for too. So that's really exciting too. But I'm going to turn it over to you and just let you take it away. Okay.
Okay. And when is their deadline? When do they have to hit diamond by?
Well, we had the first push. Melanie, when's the next deadline?
It's actually Wednesday at midnight. So this is the last week of this Push to Diamond group.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. All right, so I am somebody who loves to work under pressure, and that's when things explode for me. So I don't want any of you thinking like, oh, I'm not close enough, I need to throw in the towel. Like, you can absolutely do this. So I have been really working on getting my coaches to diamond this year. That has been a really big goal of mine, and so far I've had, I think, 7 or 8 go diamond this year. And so just want to share with you what I've been doing to help them, and then also my recruiting strategies, which you might be familiar with already, but I know some other coaches do the exact same thing, and I think sometimes you just have to hear it again and again until you realize what you need to take from it. So first off is crunch time. It's like you need those Hail Marys. So if you haven't read or listened to Grant Cardone's The 10X Rule, ladies, that is my Bible. I have listened to that book 6 times, and anytime I'm feeling in a funk, I put my headphones in and I listen to him. So my mantra, my team always laughs about this, is what would Grant Cardone do? If he had this goal of hitting diamond by Wednesday, there is nothing in the world that he wouldn't do to hit that goal. And so every time I have a goal like that, I think, what can I possibly do? I have to think outside the box. So I want you right now, Alicia's saying he's my favorite, me too. I want you to adopt that mantra. What would Grant Cardone do this week? And every day you need to be laser focused on getting the coaches you need, or helping your emeralds get the coaches that they need. So let me look at my notes. I didn't create any slides for you guys. I just wanted to talk to you. But first, so I want to talk about limiting beliefs. So first is, I can't do it. It's too late. I had several coaches who, miraculously had those Hail Marys, had people sign up, they called in favors, they asked people that they were too afraid to ask, and they went diamond in like the final hours before their goal date. So you can do it. You still have so many hours before Wednesday night. Another limiting belief I hear from people is, I can't lead others. I'm afraid to recruit coaches or business builders who are going to need me to lead them. And that is so false. So I love this analogy of fetch. I don't know if you've ever heard of this analogy, but it's mentoring people in this business is very much like throwing a ball to a dog, right? You have the training, the ball is the training and all the resources, and you just have to throw it. And the dog has to be the one to go get it and bring it back to you. So the same is true for our coaches. A lot of times we get wrapped up and think that their success is determined by what we do. As long as you are giving them the training, the resources, being there for them, you have to throw the ball, but they have to go out there and they have to get it. And then they have to come back to you with their questions and what they've done. So don't be so wrapped up in other people's success. Yes, give them the resources and the training that you had, but don't think that. I've had a coach say, I'm scared to bring on coaches because I'm so worried that they'll fail and it's my fault. And I'm like, girl, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. this business is entirely up to whoever signs up. And then another coach recently told me that her limiting belief was she didn't want to sign up a coach who would be better than her. She's so afraid of signing up somebody who's going to know more and do better. And I'm like, what? My goal every time I sign up a coach, I say like a silent intention, please let this be the next Melanie Mitro. Like, you have no idea, right? You want amazing people underneath you. So do not worry about that. Okay, so here is your roadmap to Diamond. You want to be utilizing discount coaches. Now, that's not a long-term strategy. I personally don't sign up discount coaches at this point in my business. I sign up people as challengers, and then when they are committed, I give them the option to convert to a discount coach. But at the beginning, when I was hustling, and what I teach my team to do is sign up discount coaches, because they are getting a discount and you're getting a coach. It's a win-win for everyone. So they have a simple discount script. They do not ask people, do you want to sign up as a discount coach? They just say, I typically sign people up for the discount preferred membership program. Here's what will happen, blah, blah, blah. And they rarely ever get pushback on that. So if you are hitting Success Club 10, that's 5 discount coaches in 1 month. So it's so easy to roadmap that. And then you have your spouse, so that's 6 coaches. And then, the following month, you just duplicate it. So if you are consistently signing up discount coaches and hitting Success Club 10, which you should be aiming for, you're going to get the bodies and people that you need. Next is lead with the coaching opportunity. So especially at this time, there are weeks in your month where you are going to be recruiting to challenge groups, but most of the time I lead with the coaching opportunity. So when I send out invites, when I talk to people, I lead with the coaching opportunity. So I recruit typically 20 to 30 coaches a month, and only 5 of them usually are challengers. Most of them are completely brand new to Beachbody. They've never even heard of it. So I think what happened was when Beachbody rolled out the Vital process and said, all right, sign up people as challengers, get them results, then convert them to coaches, and then give them results. Yes, I see why they did that, and that makes a difference. But I think we get so caught up in, oh my gosh, I have to get these challengers first and then convert them, and that takes a long time. And personally, a lot of my challengers just want to be challengers, but a lot of people out there are new to this and they are drawn to the business opportunity. So I always tell people, I can give you an amazing transformation, but if I can also teach you how to take that transformation and turn it into a lucrative business, that's going to change your whole freaking life. So why would I only give you half the solution? So I do recruit challengers, but I recruit a lot of coaches who are brand new to Beachbody. So don't think that they have to have some prior knowledge or experience with this. So publicly post about coaching every day, whether it's in your stories or an actual post. So you get what you post for, and this is so very true. So at the beginning of this month, my success partner and I were like, let's not talk about challenge groups. Let's only focus on coaches. And we went to Mexico, and mid-month, we both had high Success Club points, and we had only recruited coaches. And we were like, okay, this really works. We kind of did a little test. And now last week we recruited challengers. So if you're always talking about fitness and nutrition, you're only going to get challengers. So a lot of people say, I can't get those business builders. That's because you're not talking about the business. You have to intentionally put it out there every single day. So personally, I post about coaching every Monday morning with a call to action to join my sneak peek group. And I'll talk about that in a moment. I then do another coaching post, a jab, usually on Wednesday, a call to action on Thursday, a jab on Friday, and then usually a call to action on Saturday or Sunday, that is join my sneak peek group. So 3 times a week, I'm making an intentional call to action with, I have this sneak peek group, I want you to join it. The other days, I'm mentioning how amazing coaching is, and every day in my stories, I'm talking about coaching. And another thing with stories is I use my stories to show how hard I'm working, because I want business builders and I want people who are willing to work hard like me. And this may scare people off, but that's fine, because I don't want lazy people on my team. So I do a lot of my work in the middle of the night. So last night I stayed up until 4 a.m. because that's when it's quiet and nobody bothers me. People aren't responding to my messages as soon as I send them. You guys know what I'm talking about. So I personally like to do a lot of work late at night, and I document that every night that I stay up. And I get a lot of women who are like, all right, I could do that too. If that gives me more time with my kids, then I'm willing to build a business in the night hours or whenever it is you're working. So don't be afraid to show how hard you're working if you want people who are going to work. And then your private invites. So whatever you're doing in the next 2 days, 10x those. I mean, whatever, if you're doing 20, you need to be doing 40 a day. I talk to some coaches who send out 100 invites at a time. So that's just crazy to me, but do what works for you. Whatever you're doing, you can do a little bit more. And I personally, sorry, I'm getting a phone call. I do a lot of private inviting on Instagram because you can quickly see what people are all about on their page, and I just blow them up with a ridiculous amount of likes and comments. I watch their stories, and then I message them with I will respond to their stories with a few things, so they're getting a few messages from me, and then I'll message them and be like, I'm so sorry I blew up your notifications, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll say, you know, are you, you clearly have these amazing social media skills. Like, have you ever thought about being a coach? And they'll be like, what is a coach, right? So I'm not just like cold inviting them. I'm kind of warming them up a little bit. And I've never had anybody be like, no, leave me alone. They're always like, girl, thanks so much for the love, and I would love to learn more. And then lastly is have a recruiting system. So personally, what I do is I have a sneak peek group. Now, last year, I ran a new sneak peek group every single week. And I started a new one, and I started a new Facebook group because I wanted to have a new kind of environment each week to kind of track things. I use Google Streak to track all of my coaching prospects, and I kind of have like joined info group, and then, you know, followed up with, and then joined team, converted to a challenger. That's kind of what my pipeline looks like. So when they request to join the info group, I put them in that pipeline, and then I can just like move them through. But I was noticing that people were joining the same sneak peek group like 4 times in a row. Like they kept joining and joining. And I'm like, every time I'd go to put their name in, it would say like duplicate box, and it would show all the other groups they were in. And I'm like, why do they keep joining this group? And then they would join as a coach. It took more than one sneak peek group, even though it was the same info, for them to actually join. So this year, instead of having all those groups, I just have one group, and I'm still kind of torn because it's so big now. I don't know if people coming in see like, oh my gosh, hundreds of members, and they're intimidated by that. Whereas last year it was like a smaller group every week, and maybe it felt more personal. I'm not sure, but I just like not having to create a new group every week. So that's what I do. And then they can rewatch those videos. So I will delete them all usually on like a Saturday, and then on Monday I start fresh again, and I re-record all of them live so that those people are still in the group and they're getting that notification that Ashly is live in this group. And I noticed that a lot of them rewatch the videos, even though it's the same content. Now, I did one when I was in Mexico. I did a sneak peek, and so I didn't do one last week, and I'm not doing one this week. I'm just, because the content I did in Mexico was so good that I don't want to get rid of it yet. So I'm like, okay, maybe next week I'll re-record videos so it's fresh for May. But this week I'm just saying like, watch these videos from last week. Or from Mexico, and it's totally fine. But my topics in there are the first video. When they first get in, there's like a thread for them to respond to and introduce themselves. And then the first video is an overview of coaching. So I market this as lifestyle coaching. I don't really brand it as health and fitness, because I think that turns a lot of people off, because I don't love health and fitness. I love eating, but I don't really like the working out part. I do it. So that's why I brand it as lifestyle coaching, because we are really teaching people how to change their lifestyle and document their lifestyle. So then when they get in, I explain what is coaching, and I say it's 3 things. It's being your best you, sharing your journey on social media, and then coaching others and helping them do the same thing. And then I kind of explain that more in detail. I pull up my iPad, I show Beachbody on demand and all the different workouts. I have the containers, I have Shakeology boosts and everything on my desk. So I kind of show them so they see the tangible products. And then I say who I'm looking for. And I am explicit in saying that I want go-getters who do not need me to hold their hands, who are ready to run with it, because I do not want needy coaches. And so that weeds people out immediately, and that's fine. I don't want those people. But if you are someone who's softer, and that's, you have to You have to ask for what you want. And if you're being too vague, you're going to get the wrong types of people and coaches. And now my whole downline, besides some of, my diamonds and above run their own groups. Some of my emeralds run their own sneak peek groups, but most of my downline adds to this group. And I am, it's attraction marketing. So they're all kind of like me. And I am really explicit about who we want for everyone, because one bad downline coach who's needy could just ruin everything, right? Not that they're going to ruin it, but I am speaking pretty much for the whole team. This is who we want. Go-getters, independent women who want to make this work. And I do say you could start it out as a hobby. I share my story, how I started as a hobby. I loved my teaching career when I started coaching. And then within 1 week of coaching, I was like, oh my gosh, I hate my teaching career. This is amazing. So I share how I started as a part-time coach. I didn't want to go all in. And so I get those people who still love their jobs. And then they have that realization that, oh my gosh, this is great. The second video I do is the worries, the fears, and the misconceptions. So I just go through, there are 8 of them that I'm just trying to be proactive so that I don't get a ton of questions after the group. That is I just hate that. I'm always like, oh my gosh, go back and watch video number 2. That's where it is. So the worries, fears, and misconceptions I address are 1, I'm not a health or fitness expert. 2, I'm not at my goal weight. 3, I don't have a large network. I don't like posting on social media. 4, I don't want to be in sales. 5, I am shy. 6, I don't have time. 7, I'm worried about what other people will think of me. And 8 is I'm not interesting enough. I don't have enough to share. And so that just knocks it out. And then nobody can come back at me with any objections or questions. The third video is all about the money. I give the income disclaimer. I share my personal income progression, and then I talk about how we earn money and then what it costs to earn money. I have all of the different package options on a blog post, and then I drop that in the comments and say, check out this blog post and decide which package is best for you. And then video 4 is the training and the mentorship, and then spouse support, because everybody's spouse typically is not on board. Mine was the biggest hater ever. So I have had a few times him in the video with me. So most recently in Mexico, I had Sean do that last video with me and share his perspective. And it was golden. I had so many coaches sign up after that because they shared it with their husbands. And then I drop an application in that comments and say, fill out this application. If you're interested, we'll get you signed up. And that's pretty much what I do. That's the only recruiting I do. If anybody asks for questions or more info, I just add them to the info group. I never try to explain coaching on the phone or in person or in a message. I'm like, here, I have this perfect flow for you. Just watch this. And that's super duplicatable. All my downline coaches can just add people to that group and they say, watch your coach. Now, you guys are pushing to diamond. So I hope that you are running your own groups. So I will tell you that my very first month as a coach, I was only a coach for 2 weeks. I ran my own sneak peek group because I wanted people to be drawn to me, not to my upline coach. Now I know my upline coach, but we have very different styles and personalities. So I was like, I don't really want them to be seeing her as this like model of what this coaching thing is all about. I mean, she's great, but we're just very different. So that's why I ran my own. So if you are serious about going diamond in the next 2 days, you could possibly run your own, but I want you to start getting into that habit of running your own and stop relying on your upline coach. And last year, I was very adamant about every time a coach signed up, I would post a new coach announcement in the sneak peek group so that other people would be like, oh, wow, look at all these people who are joining. Like, maybe I should join too. And then when they would hit Success Club or they would hit Success Starters or hit Emerald in their first month, I would go back to their original sneak peek group and I would post that announcement there so that other people would be like, wow, these people are joining and they're having success quickly. Like, that could have been me. I really gotten away from it this year, and it's something I want to get back to doing. But that really did help. It's that kind of peer persuasion or pressure, positive peer pressure. And then I always talk about this, so people always want to see it. If you're at a loss of what to post, so what I did was I have this struggle web here. These are all the struggles that I had before I became a coach. And then on the back is all of the pleasures and like the wins that I've experienced since becoming a coach. And so anytime that I'm like, what could I post? What should I be talking about? If you want me to talk about coaching every single day, I just pull this out and I'm like, what's a struggle that I had? And now how can I flip it? And what is a success that I've had since I've become a coach? And so I always break it down to financial, emotional, and physical. So those are the 3 categories that I try to hit every week, and share how coaching has impacted me in that area. So this is all a numbers game. If you want to hit diamond, you will just talk to more people this week, and you will just do more follow-ups, and you will post more about it, and you will talk about it in your stories incessantly. Where attention goes, energy flows. So you just have to be laser focused, and you can make it happen this week. And then lastly, like last Hail Mary is relatives. When I was trying to get my husband to diamond just in time to be elite, I had called in favors for relatives that I was too afraid to ask earlier. And they were like, sure, we'll gladly, sign up, do whatever it is. And then they became such loyal Shakeology drinkers, and they bought 3 refreshes and ultimate resets. And I'm like, why didn't I ask you 2 years ago? Like, that was so silly for me to have been afraid to ask them. So if you ask people for help, they will most likely help you. So those people you have in your back pocket that you've been too afraid to ask, now is the time to reach out and ask. Okay, Rachel, that's all I have. Is there anything else?
Yeah, I was telling them before that you do such a good job with just consistently sharing your story. And you kind of touched on that when you explained how you do like a jab 3 days a week and a call to action 3 days a week. But like, you are relentless in that Monday morning, I don't have to go to work today, and, I get to take London to the playground. And, like, I feel like those are the things that people that follow you connect with and commiserate with, I guess, and that really like clinches the deal for you. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, so I always try to identify what did I hate about my life before coaching and share that, because I know, like, this morning I made a post about how I would wake up on Monday mornings, and I'm sure if you were working outside the home, Rachel, Melanie, I mean, it was like a whirlwind. I mean, no matter how early I got up, I never could get to work on time. By the time I had to drive an hour to drop my daughter off and pack 19 million bags. I was always schlepping bags, and then I would forget to give, my daughter the bag she needed, have to drive back. And so I just want to remember how stressful and crazy that was, because I know that half my followers this morning experienced that same exact thing. I want them to read it and say, oh my gosh, this is me. And so that is what I actually do really well. And every single day I get messages from people who are like, girl, every single word you write is like my life. Like, how did you get in my head? How do you know what I'm writing? So you just have to think, what did you struggle with, or what are you struggling with, or what is your ideal coach struggling with? And how can you get in their head and make them read your post and think, gosh, like, how did she know that's exactly what I went through?
That's good. That's really good. So let's see. I was going to look at the questions really quickly. Carrie asked, can you repeat what you say when you describe what a lifestyle coach is?
So I say, I brand this as being a lifestyle coach, because you're going to be sharing all aspects of your life online, but it's rooted in health and fitness. Because when your body is off, everything else in life is off. So the income in the main part of this business is rooted in health and fitness, and I'm going to explain that in a moment, but you will be sharing other interests such as beauty or hair or parenting or whatever it is online. So that's kind of how I explain it. And then I go into, here are the 3 things that coaching is all about. Number 1 is taking care of you. Number 2 is sharing it on social media in order to inspire others. And number 3 is actually coaching them.
Yeah. I love that. Lifestyle coaching is so much more descriptive of what we do. Yeah, it really is. It is. I think we get stuck in this bubble and we think we can't go outside of it, but you just chart your own course.
I remember I was on Instagram and I saw people kept saying, like, I'm a lifestyle blogger. And I'm like, oh, that sounds so cool. And I was with my mother-in-law and I was like, I think I'm going to start branding myself as a lifestyle coach instead of fitness. And I couldn't even get it out of my mouth. She's like, yes. She's like, fitness is terrible. That really scares people off like me. And I'm like, okay, well, that's good feedback.
One of the things I started to do differently this year is talk about running a faith-based business instead of just a health and fitness business, and I've started to really like get women who are attracted to the business part, like running a business and the faith side of it, and they're not scared away by the fitness part. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. Anybody else? Does anybody else have questions? Lisa, can't wait to re-listen. Okay, Sarah Beth said, in a post after you share your past struggles, do you go into where you are now?
Yes. So you always want that flow. So I always have a hook that's going to stop people and be like, oh my gosh, I need to read this. And then I share what my life was like before so that people can relate to it. And then I share how it is now. And then I have, you can do this too. I have an info group if you want to check it out. No obligations.
Yeah. And you always turn like just a random post into a coaching invite post. I love how you do that. I love how you do that. All right. Anybody else? Melanie, do you have anything?
I don't. I'm just sitting here listening. It's all really great, relevant stuff. And I love that you started with the 10X rule, because I'm like, yes, like that is totally it. And it is a mindset. And I know that this group, I know that our team always defaults to fitness. They do. And we don't talk about the business enough. And I know that that is like a stopping point, or it is the private messages. Like I know that that's where everybody could kind of change the game if they just flip that switch a little bit. And it literally is a mindset change.
Yeah, I went to Brendan Burchard's High Performance Academy last month, and one of the most important things he said was figure out what your prime metric is. Your prime metric is that one thing that is going to build you that residual income, the income and the business that you want, that is worth, $1,000 a minute of your time. And so we were all like, what is our prime metric? What is our prime metric? And it is recruiting quality coaches. Coaches who are performing and who are loyal and who believe in the business. That's your prime metric. So I'm like, okay, I could retail the heck out of my business, but where is that going to get me long term? So that's why since March, I'm like, okay, I have to be way more intentional with recruiting quality coaches and giving them enough of my time. So I've been making this shift because last year, I got a ton of Success Club points every month. And yeah, I got a lot of coaches too, but I was just like constantly in this grind. So this year I'm focusing on not getting as many challengers. I'm helping the people who are really willing and committed, and I'm spending more time getting coaches and giving them a lot of my time. And Melanie, I know you know that's what me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it makes the most sense because once you get go-getters, they just go, and it's fun because they match your effort and your intensity, and it makes the business exciting. So it does take away that grind. And I will say the one thing you talked about where you said it took people a while of being in your sneak peek before they pulled the trigger. So I've always just done like one sneak peek a month. And so last month I sort of piloted doing one every single week. And it literally took to the fourth week until people started to come around and they would stay in that same group. So what you are saying totally rings true. And every week I would say the same thing, maybe a little bit differently, but it was just for whatever reason, they just needed to keep hearing it until they pulled the trigger. So you have to be a little bit patient on that front too. So yeah. That's all I got.
Thank you so much, Ashly. That was really good.
Yeah, thanks for having me, ladies.
Yeah. All right. Well, keep crushing it.
All
right, guys. Yes. So let's go out. Let's go 10X this bad boy, and let's keep posting in the group as we're signing up our coaches this week. And we'll come back on Wednesday. Will actually be our last call of the group. So we'll see you guys on Wednesday. Let's make it an awesome week. And again, thank you so much, Ashly. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.